welcome again. We have, I'm sorry, Vanessa Gerard from our district attorney's office, and she's going to talk about our second crime. So you can just come on up and throughout your presentation. And so thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Vanessa Gerard. I am a deputy DA at the San Diego District Attorney's Office. I'm actually born and raised in San Diego. My mom went to Sweetwater.
Hello, good morning.
And is a social worker here. So I am one of the unique DAs who's literally lived here my whole life and very proud to serve my community. I've been with the office about 14 years. I've been in almost every single county or branch except for Vista. I've been in South Bay twice. I work out of the Hall of Justice now downtown. I spent most of my career so far in the gang unit, which is near and dear to my heart. And then about 3 years ago, they asked me to come to sex crimes and human trafficking, which is actually very similar to the gang unit. Most of the gang members that I was prosecuting in gangs also happen to be pimps, and you'll see studies on why. And so now we're chatting about human trafficking, which is one of those topics that sounds very scary. If you've seen the movie Taken, that's what a lot of people think about. Unfortunately, San Diego is one of the hot spots for it. Our district attorney, Summer Steffen, was the first DA to start this unit and to really put the forefront on human trafficking. She saw that there was a need for it, created our unit, and now we have a dedicated group of DAs who all we do is human trafficking and sex crimes. And we also are the leaders in the nation for how to prosecute these cases. So last year and all throughout the year, I go and teach other DA's offices on how to do human trafficking cases because San Diego has kind of figured it out. Though it's not solved, we have a good system. Please stop me if you have any questions at all throughout this presentation. I know this is a lot of information. This is heavy information. So if you have any questions, please feel free. What is human trafficking? It is a form of modern-day slavery. Our perpetrators profit from the sexual exploitation and forced labor of men, women, and children. It's a violation of basic human rights, and it's also now, thank goodness, a crime federally and state. The problem is that it's, after drug sales, the second most profitable industry, underground industry, that we have in our nation right now. And 50% of our victims are under the age of 18 years old, which is kind of wild when you think about it. 80% of our victims are females. So, unfortunately, obviously your kids are kind of right in that realm. And so it's important that we know what's going on so that we can address it and hopefully prevent it. The average age of first exploitation happens to be between 12 and 14 years old. And 27 million people are trafficked each year worldwide. San Diego was identified as one of the top 13 high-intensity areas. And so this is a map of where there is a lot of prevalence. Usually, because we are on a border town and others that also have border areas or access to lots of traffic just by way of people traveling through, that's where it tends to be most prevalent. So for us, unfortunately, San Diego is one of those hot spots. How do our cases come in? So we have a San Diego Human Trafficking Task Force that is unique to our county and absolutely wonderful because other counties that I go and talk to, they're just relying on their own police departments or FBI to get in these cases. We have our own dedicated team, and all they do is look for human trafficking victims, and we try to hopefully get those victims, get them into resources, and get them out of this life. So we get calls primarily from the proactive reach of our task force, and then we also get calls from welfare services, national human trafficking hotlines, agencies, non-governmental agencies, so sometimes schools, sometimes teachers, and sometimes parents will call us and say, hey, I think something's going on. How big is it in San Diego? Unfortunately, it's about an $810 million industry just in the last year. And per each trafficker, they can make on average about $670,000. This is a highly, highly profitable industry. Some of the issues that we run into, especially just in my experience in the last 3 years of trying many of these cases, our victims do not identify as victims. They are girls who primarily are making between $3,000 and $5,000 a day. And so when we offer them services and try to see whether or not they want to go into a new job or get, schooling, they say, why? Why would I do that when I'm making $3,000 to $5,000 a day? And so that's kind of the hurdle that we run into. But what I always tell them is, I'm not fighting for you today, I'm fighting for you in 40 years. Because I have an idea that 40 years from now, you are not going to be happy with some of the things that you're going through now. And it's incredibly dangerous. So, for example, right now we have a murder in San Diego County that resulted from one of our victims who was acting as a worker, and average John just came through and did not leave that situation. So 85% of our facilitators are gang affiliated. And so that's why I tell you, when I came from the gang unit and I transferred into sex crimes, it's generally the same types of individuals who are doing this. And now, I think you guys got a presentation last time on gangs. I think it was Marcus Macias. If you saw him, he was actually just on my last gang murder. He's absolutely fantastic. The difference between gangs and sex crimes is we don't prosecute with the gang allegation, because for the most part, the gang allegation is benefiting the gang. So they're doing some activity to benefit the gang. In sex trafficking, the pimps are benefiting themselves. The money doesn't generally go back to the gang, and so very rarely do we have that situation. However, the majority, and about 85% is true of my cases alone, that they are affiliated with a gang within San Diego, which helps them actually facilitate control and manipulation of their victims, because they have this underlying fear of leaving. So just within our county, 110 gangs involved in underground sex economy. This is a county-wide problem. A lot of times I'll get families of the traffickers and the victims who say, well, my daughter went to a good school, she went all the way through, and then all of a sudden she found this boyfriend, and I'll give you some stories about that, and they'll say, this is not how we raised her. And I hate to tell them, you're not alone. This is not just one area. It is all over our county. It is all walks of life. It is people, students of teachers, of real estate agents, of professors, all sorts of different walks of life. Their children are still susceptible. And so when people think this shouldn't happen to them, unfortunately, it does happen to everyone. It is a county-wide problem. So there are certain risk factors that our traffickers look for when they're looking to gain another victim. And those could be any kind of runaway or homeless youth, if there's drugs or alcohol involved, any kind of mental health, lack of parental involvement, financial situations. Prior trauma is a big one. So any prior sexual abuse, family violence, or neglect. This can happen to anyone in any neighborhood, in any family. We had 20 high schools in San Diego County with suspected victims, and 90% of those became confirmed cases. So this is all across. This is kind of just a visual of that. And I think my PowerPoint will be available to you if you have any questions on this, but that's essentially what our traffickers are looking for. So where do they recruit? Well, you'll recognize Fashion Valley Mall. They go to the middle schools and high schools, local malls, train stations, juvenile facilities, group homes, and through their friends. What we have been seeing lately is that girls are directed by their traffickers to recruit other girls. So they bring their other friends into it. I had a case during COVID. I was still in gangs, but it ended up being a sex crimes, human trafficking case, where I had a 16-year-old victim who was reported as a runaway, and she had met this boyfriend at Fashion Valley Mall. And her family seemed to like him. They met him, had no idea of his gang involvement or anything like that. He seemed lovely, and lo and behold, when they call in for the runaway, after a couple months of them dating, he had asked her, hey, I'm a little bit down on money. Do you think you could turn a couple tricks for me, just for a little bit? Turns out he then took her ID, took her cell phone, had her in one of the motels along Hotel Circle, and had her working out of that hotel. She ended up getting one of the John's number or cell phones because he had taken her cell phone. She called her dad, who showed up and essentially got into an altercation with my defendant. And that was how they ended up rescuing her. We had her brought back into services. We'd provided her all the different things. She ended up going back to the life because she realized how profitable it was. So these are some of the situations that we run into real life over and over and over again. A lot of times the pimps start out as boyfriends, and that seems to be the trend where they meet them at the mall. They kind of target the girls who seem to have a little bit lower self-esteem. And so if there's a big group of girls, they'll go up to the one who they have somehow picked out, and they seem to be very good at picking this out, and take them out, wine and them, dine them, get them very fancy bags, nails, lashes, hair, all the stuff, and then say, hey, I'm a little bit down. Can you please turn a couple tricks? And that's how it starts. So trolley bus stops, again, it's pretty much everywhere that they try to recruit. Social media is huge. So now what we're seeing, one of the trends is that our victims will recruit their other friends. And you know, in social groups, when our girls are, you know, say a certain individual, a victim of trafficking comes in, she's got these brand new, whatever, name brand handbag, and has her nails done and her hair done, her makeup, and she's got really nice clothing. Her friends start to notice and say, what are you doing? And she'll say, well, hey, you know, don't tell anybody. That's one of the ways that they recruit. And so our pimps know how to give them the money and how to fund them in that way to be an attractive recruiter to get more girls. One of the things that we see, there's a whole terminology that is within this life. One of them is that pimps like to have a stable. A stable is many different girls. And so it is not uncommon to see pimps, I just arraigned one yesterday, who has 6 different victims within his own purview. So social media seems to be the next big thing in terms of where they are recruiting. And so, you know, as parents, that's something that I would be, and I also am a parent, I am very cognizant of. So connected devices, how to protect yourself and your children. Turn off your location settings. I cannot recommend that enough. I mean, first and foremost, I think we all agree, like social media, as much as we can, we should keep them off of that. Kids can, you know, even studies right now that are going on in Congress, under the age of 18, they just really shouldn't have social media. So I know that's really, really hard to implement, especially with teenagers. So, but let's just blanket start there that is the best way to protect against this and also protect against their own well-being and mental health. And so to the extent that you can, try to limit the social media. If you do have it, make sure that they're not sharing personal information about where you go to school, where you're living, anything like that. Set up all your accounts to private. You probably know all of this. The way that most of our parents of victims have found out that this was going on was through Venmo and Cash App. So a lot of times our victims, what they do when they go on a date is they get money through the John, who's the person purchasing their services. They'll send money through Cash App, and or just give them cash. Then usually our victims turn it over to their trafficker and they hold the money. So you'll see a lot of Cash App transactions or money transactions. Those are red flags. I had a family recently, this case has already gone all the way through, but they found out within 10 days of their daughter participating in the trafficking. We were able to go alert the task force. They were able to pick her up and get her off the streets. And so we do have some good success stories, and that's with vigilant parenting. So for children, time limits, devices should be used in shared spaces. That's my biggest one. If you can see what they're doing and they know that you have access to all of it, they're much less likely. Of course, they're going to try to find the loopholes. Kids always do that. But at the same time, if you have them know that you are looking at everything on there, it's just an extra layer of protection. Here are a couple apps and programs for guardians. So if you want to take these down, these should also be in the obviously you'll have the PowerPoint, but these are just some good ways to keep track of what's going on. I will tell you, if you see the app Life 360, or sometimes I know parents who use it, that is a way that our traffickers like to track their victims. So that is also something that I would keep an eye out. If they have Life 360 on their phone, that could be a red flag as well. So what are you looking for? All of those little things I just told you. Unexplained luxuries, more than one cell phone, bruises, STDs, pregnancy, tattoos are a big one. An older boyfriend who they seem to be secretive about. use of alcohol, drugs, dropping grades. Very interestingly, I did have a case where my victim ended up getting better grades and was doing really well in school, and the family really liked the boyfriend and had no idea that he was trafficking her for a little bit, until it then turned very quickly to her not going to school anymore. But it can look like just a big change in dedication to school or lifestyle, but the biggest thing is usually the unexplained luxuries and then the financial transactions. Isolation is the other huge one. Traffickers almost always have this manipulative ability to isolate their victims, and that is how they have the power control over them. A lot of times, what we'll see when I teach in other counties is that cases will come in looking like a domestic violence boyfriend-girlfriend case, but really it's a human trafficking case. And so for the most part, traffickers come and start in their lives as a romantic interest. And then it turns into this trafficking, and sometimes the victims don't even have any other idea that their boyfriend was trafficking 3 to 4 other females at the time that they started dating them. And so something that can look like a DV relationship can also be trafficking, just because of that isolation behavior. So what are we looking for? Our traffickers like to identify themselves via tattoos. And so you'll see a lot of times the money symbol, the Monopoly man, high value like Rolexes. They refer to their females, sorry for the language, as the B word. Children here, so I won't say it out loud. And they're very, they're isolating and they're demeaning to their victims once they get into the point that they're actively trafficking them. So these are the symbols that you'll see. I don't see a crown on there, but a crown is usually a really popular one as well. Traffickers like to have their victims get tattoos, and it's a show of loyalty. This is also part of the gang culture as well. And so they will oftentimes pressure, and we go through all the cell phones in these cases, and I'll see time and time again the trafficker pressuring the victim, when I come back, you need to have that tat. And so they're telling them, you need to have some sort of show on your body that you belong to me. And so you'll see the crown, and then sometimes the name of the trafficker. Usually it's their moniker. So we saw on this young woman, she had gotten it on the inside of her lip. This is other individuals who have the money kings. Like the crown is probably the most common one that we do see. They refer to their traffickers as daddy. And so if you ever hear that kind of language, that's a pretty big tip off also. And so those are tattoos that we see as well. The problem is these days, and some of the examples that I've kind of given you throughout, is that our victims see this as a very luxurious lifestyle. And so especially when they're young, and you know, obviously we all remember being in our teenage years, having the bags and the luxuries and the clothing and the high amounts of money that you can make between 15 and 18 years old, and honestly upwards of like 30s. We have some victims who go into their 30s as well. They see this as a very fantasy lifestyle, and they see this as a really easy way to make a lot of money very quickly, and they'll tell themselves, this doesn't hurt me, I'm not affected by it, I'm choosing to sell my body, I'm choosing to participate in this. But the reality of it, this is the Blade. This is where the most common form of public trafficking occurs. It's just about 15 minutes north of us on Delbergia Street. You can drive there right now, and I guarantee you, if you go right now at this moment, you will see between 10, sometimes upwards of 20 girls walking the Blade. Oh, it's a video, but so all hours of the night, 24/7. This is where the girls primarily walk. There's different other areas within the San Diego County that are hotspots for it. The Blade would be the most common. And we have, this is SDPD's camera. We put it up there. Everybody knows that we can see it, and it doesn't really deter anybody, which is kind of wild. So cars drive through, the pimps will be alongside, honestly there for protection for their girls, and then the girls will be along the side of the street walking in very scantily clad clothing and trying to solicit the drivers that come by. And they can agree for a certain price, and then they'll go around either to side streets or Sometimes they go back to houses or motels. Most of the time they just stay in the car, and what's really frustrating is that this is a residential area. There's businesses there, but for the most part it's residential. And there are children who walk to school there who are constantly walking over used condoms and other things that they find all the time, and the girls are there. So this is a very real, very sad part of what's going on right now. If you have any indication that someone that you know, and it could be anybody in your life, please report it. We have a whole dedicated task force. All we do, and our main goal, we do operations once every at least 3 months, sometimes more. Our goal is to get minors off the street. If they're over the age of 18, it's a little different, but 18 and under, our goal proactively is to get minors off the street and make sure that they have resources available to them. As you saw in one of the other slides, one of the main common denominators that our victims have are their runaways. And so those runaways, we want to make sure that they have access to resources and everything else we could possibly try to do. Sometimes we'll send them back, you know, if they were from San Francisco or Seattle, we'll make sure that they have a way to get back home and connect them with victim advocates within our own office. We have former trafficking victims who are victim advocates in our office now, who we set them up with. That way they have someone they can connect with who's actually experienced it and can show them there is a different way. Yes, it is hard, but I've been there and I've done it. And so I'm very, very proud of our DA's office for, and our DA, Summer Steffen. She's really attacked this. She's probably the forefront. Anywhere you go that you see human trafficking, people always know Summer Steffen's name because this was near and dear to her heart. And we were the first county to really start proactively attacking this problem. Hopefully it's, you know, something that we're getting under control, but unfortunately because it is so prevalent and so profitable, it is a really difficult reality that we deal with here in San Diego. So here are some of the resources available to you. As I always tell everybody in every situation, you all have a spidey sense, so it's what we call it. If it ever goes off, just call 911. That's what they're there for. Whenever you have a sense that something doesn't seem right, just call. It does us a favor. That is our job. We will investigate it. Hopefully it's nothing, but if it's something, you are the one to help us get to that. Any questions? Sorry, that was a lot. It's a really heavy information, sorry. Okay. No questions? All right.
Well, thank you so much. We always want to make sure that we bring you topics, right, that are in our neighborhood, things that we may not be aware of. Hopefully none of us, hopefully none of us will ever have to do that, you know, having adult children or aged children. It's just something very scary, but it's also something we need to be really aware of. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today. And we're gonna go back to the rest of our presentation. All right, on to lighter topics, community schools. We are, last year, we talked about this last time, or all of last year, we talked about being a community schools, and we are fully getting on board now. We have a full-time coordinator now today. You saw her today earlier, Ms. Ortega, Marisol Ortega, who's here. This is part of being a community schools, right? Having partnerships here today. And today we have County of San Diego, and then we also have our gentleman here,
George Herrera from Alliance
Alliance True Care. So you guys will have some time after to kind of talk or give some services to them. But ultimately, what a community schools is just a hub where students, families, educators, and community partners work together to strengthen the conditions of learning and a healthy development for kids, right? So our number one job still as a community school is to educate your children, but we want to make sure that we are educating the whole child. So for example, if a student needs mental health services, right? We want to make sure that we provide them here during the daytime so you're not having to go somewhere else. If they need, we are in the process, you know, we already have Monty's Market. How many of you know about Monty's Market? right? It's where it's a clothing, it's supplies, it is anything that they might need, right? That it's open during lunch and it's all the way free for them. We are actually opening up a Monty's. We have to brand our name yet, but it's going to be a food pantry, right here on campus. So if a kid, didn't get to eat or didn't have breakfast or whatnot, they can stop by. It's going to be open to the community, to you, where it's going to be free of charge. Where we're going to have milk, diapers, eggs, things that and fresh produce available for you guys here on campus. We're gonna, instead of having to go, we have our partnership too at the middle school with the once a month food distribution, but now we're gonna have it right here on campus to where you or your child is able to come in and grab whatever it is that they need, right? So that's gonna be part of our services that we need. And also what our students said, we are really looking into post-secondary things or post-secondary options for our students, right? So if they're not going straight to college, if they're going to community college, can we bring in trade schools? Can we bring in different avenues as to what they can do? Because as we know, right, not all of our students are going right to college, and that's okay. So what other options can they have? Could we have other career paths for them? So that's actually one of the things that they really asked for. So we're gonna look into seeing how we can bring that on our campus about that. Please mark your calendars, April 29th. April 29th, Ms. Weinberger? Anyone? Oh. I believe it is going to be our kickoff. We're gonna have a big event. It's gonna be from 5 to 7. We are rolling out the carpet for you guys to make sure that our parent center, today we're not in our parent center, which is our brand new hub, but because we're doing some testing and whatnot, but we're gonna roll out the big carpet. It's gonna be a big celebration. So please, if you're able to make it, please come on the April 29th, I believe, from 5 to 7. But we'll send out information for that as well. Okay, another thing, you are going to get bombarded, and I mean bombarded, with lots of emails and phone calls, texts, messages, because we really want to hear from you. It's a needs assessment survey. It is our process that we do every single year where we figure out what is it that you need, right? What is it that you want to see? How can we help you? How can we have a better partnership, right, between students, parents, and teachers and staff? And so right now, you should be completing the California Healthy Kids Survey. That talks about safety. It talks about drug use. It talks about vaping. It talks about, do kids feel safe? Do you feel safe sending your kids to our school? I am gonna brag a little bit. I'm gonna tell you, we are #1 in that category in the whole district. Montgomery Middle has the highest rate of students feeling like they belong and they feel safety here at school. Not an East Lake, not a Otay Rand, not a San Isidro, but us. So I'm very proud of that, right? And that comes from a lot of the work that we do to make sure that kids are feeling like they belong, but it comes from a lot of your responses, right? And it comes from their responses. So please, I beg you to please go ahead and fill that survey. Next month, you're gonna get our own needs assessment survey as well. That's going to be, it's a short survey. It's gonna be just a Google form. And again, it's gonna ask you, do you feel proud to be an Aztec? Do you feel that you are safe? Do you, all those type of questions? Because if not, then you need to tell us why not, and how we can make it better, right? Our job here is just to try to make sure that we are give your students the best education possible with the supports needed, and to make sure that we have a true partnership with you guys. And so your voice really matters. We're also doing the same with kids, right? Because it's their experience. They're the ones that are here every single day. And so we are doing the same thing with them in different matters. We're doing empathy interviews with them, which is a one-on-one. We're gonna do a listening circles where we're gonna pick 10 kids and 20 teachers are gonna listen to what the kids have to say, right? A lot of things came out of that last year. Actually, I think Brian was one of the kids that participated last year. Yeah, and so, last year they said, we feel like all cultures are not represented equal or celebrated equally. And you know, we had, I don't know if you guys, they went home to tell you the other day, but we had a big event just this week where it was Black History Month, and they had we let them go out early to the on the field, and they watch softball and baseball, because those sports really, we don't get a lot of kids watching, right, or supporting. So we got them to go out there, and the whole, pretty much half of the school was out there. It was up to their teacher, depending on what academics or what was happening that day, right? But they all got to go out there, and in between they learned about Black History Month, because that's what we're celebrating this month, right? And so it was a great experience. So that came straight from what the kids said we needed more of. So we turned around and put that into action. And then, like Ms. Scott said, you guys will have the opportunity to come, right? So I hope that you guys take that opportunity. It's about 2 to 3 hours of the day, and you can walk around and see instruction, like see what does it look like. Even for me, being in school all the time, anytime that I get to go into the classroom, I'm really like excited, because I get to see what they're doing, right? So it's a great opportunity. Any questions on this part? No? So please tell your friends. Last year, we only got 79 parents to do the needs assessment, right? So that's a very small amount of percentage from the kids, from the rest of the time. So we took that into consideration, but again, it's the smaller amount of people, right? So we want bigger representation this year, hopefully, okay? All right, family circles. I'm here to share, and we have, again, Miss Valerie Ramirez, our representative from Wishville, so she's going to talk to you guys about that for a little bit.
Okay, do I need to do anything?
No, that's your slide.
Perfect. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here. I used to work at Montgomery Middle with Ms. Batanco, Ms. Minerva. I used to be there for 10 years, so this is definitely my home, my community. I'm here to talk to you about Wishwell. We're an organization that is an empowerment and counseling center. So we work with students from the ages of 4, and we're actually starting to see students ages 18, 19, and 20, young adults. And what we do is we basically work with students on life skills, how to develop life skills that they need. We talk with students about mental health. We're seeing a lot of students right now that are experiencing anxiety and social pressure and depression. And so what we do is we offer one-on-one coaching at our office in Eastlake, where we empower students, right? So we help students kind of navigate these really heavy feelings that they're feeling. We have students come in that maybe their family is going through a divorce, and so they kind of need help processing those emotions and understanding it. And so we really encourage and empower our students through these life moments that they just need a little bit of help understanding what they're going through. And so we are part of the community partnership. Our founder, Ms. Berenice Hernandez, she was a counselor at Montgomery Middle for, I believe, like 25 years. And she retired from the district, and she opened Wishwell. And so we have a contract with Sweetwater District. So we're in 24 of the different schools in our district where we offer different services. Our services are for the family as a whole and student as a whole. So on some of our campuses, we offer empowerment groups for students. So we come to the school campus, and it's an 8-week series where we gather about 12 to 13 students, and we talk about whatever it is that they're experiencing. We can talk about mental health, decision-making skills, responsible decision-making skills, self-esteem, empowerment, and we provide lunch for the students. So that is a service that we provide for our students. For parents, we offer parent workshops. So again, we come to the campus and we facilitate a 5-week series of parent workshops. Every week there's a different topic. Some of those topics are how to have a heavy conversation with your child, how to understand the emotional process of the development of your child. So every week you get a different topic. Those are done here on campus during the day, and those are just for our parents. What I find really special about those workshops is it's an opportunity for all of you to kind of gather and connect, right, and have conversations amongst each other, to where we see a lot of parents where they don't feel so alone, right? Like you have these conversations that are needed to have, you connect, you engage, and so those are for our parents. The family circles that we will be bringing, I believe next Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. I will be leading them with Miss Batanco's amazing sister, Miss Gabriella Brown. We are the team of coaches that will be here, and so those are from 5:30 to 7. That is a full family engagement experience, so we invite you to bring your whole household. That can look like grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whomever. We can have little kiddos, we can have the bigger kiddos. And that's a family engagement opportunity for you to connect, to you to build stronger communication and trust within your family unit. We were here last semester, so we facilitated 3. So now we continue the series, so it'll be 4, 5, 6, 7. And I can just give you a little teaser. The circle that we'll be starting on Tuesday is about how to build repair when communication and trust is broken within a family. So we get into some really heavy topics. And so that one will really focus on what do we do, what are the skills that we need, how do we practice repairing communication when it's broken. This series, the next 4 that we facilitate are really, really powerful. We talk about generational trauma that we pass on to, students or our children. We talk about building, a forefront as a family, what it feels like to really truly belong and fit in as a family unit. And really, it's just an opportunity for all of you to have these conversations, for you to acquire the skills of how to have a conversation, right? An opportunity to really hear from your children. I can honestly speak from a coach's standpoint that when we see families walk in, is as compared to when they walk out, it is life-changing. There have been moments of tears, there have been moments of revelation, there have been moments of like, my family just really needed this. And so that's what we're about. We're all about connecting our families, building those skills that you need, to have a strong family unit. So that's what our family circles are. Those are the dates. They're from 5:30 to 7. We also provide dinner. So we know a lot of the kids are coming from after school and yourselves from work. So we do provide dinner, and it's very interactive and fun. We're not just sitting and listening. No, we're moving, we're engaging, we're connecting, we're healing. So they're really powerful. So if you see, wish well, we have our flyers. If you see any emails, we will be coming to you next Tuesday. So I'll be here if you have any other questions. So we're just really excited to be coming back and being able to provide this service for our families here. So thank you very much.
Any questions on that? No? Okay. Moving right along. We have our ASB Dean of Activities, I just saw her. Oh, I'm like, she's right here. And she's gonna give you guys a quick update on all ASB related things.
Hi, everyone. I don't have a slide. For those of you who've never met me, my name is Ms. Ruiz. I'm your ASB assistant principal, and I oversee all the student activities here. So welcome to our school. I just want to always talk to parents about communication. Every week, if you do not know, you get an email from me on Sunday, you get an email from me on Monday, and a text message. And I want you to make sure that you read all that information so you know what's happening. Spring sports is underway. There's still room on some of the teams, especially if your students want to play golf or tennis for boys, and then if they want to do boys and girls track. So if they want to get involved, it's still not too late. I like to say running, tennis, golf are lifestyle sports. Those are sports you could play all year long and your whole life. I play golf. I play with my dad. My dad's 25 years older than me, and we still play golf. And those are good memories I have with my father. So there's that, and then we're ending the school year, so all the end of the year activities are gonna be happening. Do I have any senior parents here? Yes. Are you sad? Are you sad yet? Not yet. Oh, yeah. You're like, not until you told me, Ms. Ruiz. So for those of you who are senior parents, you're gonna start getting communication when we get back from spring break. I'm gonna have a senior parent night so that I could tell you everything you need to know for the last 9 weeks of high school. Okay, I know. And then any junior parents? If you are a junior parent, you want to start thinking, okay, I got to get ready for my kid for senior year and getting ready for all those activities. Can I answer any questions for you about anything here on campus, clubs, sports? All right, well, thank you. Oh, yes.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
I don't know if it relates to what you're talking about, but I know that my son has to do like 10 hours.
You have community service,
Stuff like that before he graduates.
Yep.
Do you have a
Yes.
list of stuff that they can
Yes, so in my WAG, in my newsletter, there's a section called community service. And then you could read the community service and it has all the list of things that are offered for the week. It's also available in the counseling center.
Yeah, I was just wondering if I've made some suggestions, but all the suggestions I make.
Of course not. Also on Saturdays, I don't know the schedule, but on some Saturdays, there's a club called Aztecs Give Back, and they come and do the community service here at school. So like last week, if you didn't smell it, we dumped 1 million tons of mulch here. And so last week the kids were gardening and then they got community service for that. And so they got 4 hours of community service and that's almost half of what they need. So that's a good question if you didn't hear. Your child needs to do 10 hours of community service before they graduate. My suggestion is you do it earlier than later. Right now, all the seniors are scrambling. They need to finish it within the next month. And it's a graduation requirement.
Did you say 10 hours?
Yeah, 10.
It used to be 30.
It used to be 30.
Okay, so those who have done 10 during the study, are they still required to start afresh or
No,
No,
10
for the whole time. And it,
for the whole 4 years?
yes.
Yes.
But I'm gonna, yeah, I know, I don't agree with it. It used to be 30 hours, but I do want to say that if your child is applying to go to college, especially four-year universities, they're looking for upwards of 100 hours of the same type of community service. So a lot of times, yeah, we could volunteer here over the years, but they're looking to see like sustained community service, maybe at a hospital or like a elderly home or, any of those kinds of, that's kind of what they're looking for. So like I know students who are applying to UCs, they're like, again, upwards to 100 hours. So you could just get your kids to serve the school. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much, parents, for coming. We appreciate you being here. You're welcome.
Is it Ms. Ziegler?
It is Ms. Siglin. All right, and now I have the pleasure to introduce you our librarian, Ms. Carrie Siglin, also a former Montgomery Middle Mayan, right? So
Yes.
we all I tell the kids, we just graduated. We came with you, so we came here.
Yeah, and I love it. I love this community, which I was at the middle school for 25 years, and now this is my second year here. Couldn't leave Montgomery, so I'll finish out my career here. I have moved into the librarian position at this school, and I'm very excited about, trying new things in our library. Some of the newest things that we advertise to students, but you may be surprised to know they don't always read their emails or, hear all the announcements.
Yeah.
So you can let them know also. We have a ton of new books this year. All the new stuff we put on display here before it goes onto the regular shelves so the kids can check out everything that's new. We also have magazines now. Kind of the samples are up top, but they're on the shelves right here. These are Scholastic magazines, so we get new ones every month. And if kids want to keep one, I'm happy to send them home with the magazines. Those aren't barcoded and need to get checked out. I'll just let kids take those. And there's 3 different levels of Spanish and then 5 in English, everything from science to art to current events. So all kinds of things if they want to check out some magazines.
Did you want to close it out, or do you want
Coming
to
up, we have a book club that meets twice a month, and their community service project for this year is going to be a book drive, and we're going to be working with a local homeless shelter. They would like to go in and read to the kids before they give them free books, but I know sometimes there's privacy issues at shelters, so I told them you may not be able to go in, but we're still going to collect books and try to build a little library at the shelter, but then also give kids some books. So we are running it March 9th through April 17th. You'll see some emails from me coming home about it. We'll be collecting new or gently used books for children ages 2 to 10. So if you have books from your kids that are still sitting in their on their bookshelf from when they were 10 years old, and they're in reasonable condition, we would love to have those. And also we have an art and poetry contest right now that the library is sponsoring. Our school theme for the year is belonging, making sure all students feel like they belong at our school. So that's the theme of the contest. And it can be painting, sculpture, photography, or poetry. If it's painting or sculpture, I've just asked kids to give me a little sketch, and then I'm providing them with paint and canvas or clay. If it's photography or poetry, they're just submitting stuff to me. So if you have a creative kid that would like to participate, it was just running through February, but I had a lot of kids ask if they could have more time. So we're going to run it through the end of spring break, or maybe even a couple weeks after if the kids want more time. I know a lot of our students that like to participate in this stuff, they're also in sports or clubs, or they're very busy. So there's not really a hard deadline for it. Last year we just had a art contest, and the theme was either literacy, technology, or just Montgomery High. And so those are some of the paintings from last year. So I'm excited to get more student artwork up in the library. So again, if you have some creative kiddos, encourage them to participate. And I think that's all for me. Do you guys have any questions about the library? We're open before and after school and at lunch. We have a lot of kids come in here at lunch that just need a place to be. So if you have a kid that, you know, wanders around at lunch or doesn't have a place that they feel, there's always a ton of people in here. It's not, we don't have quiet library at lunch. It's more like of a social hangout place. So, and we have board games and we have a Lego station. As well as we also have books here that they can look at. So, all right, well, thank you very much. And I'm gonna turn it back over to Ms. Batonko.
Okay, yes. And then again, we're almost done. So we have just upcoming events. We have our ELAC meeting April 23rd at 8:45. If you are a parent of an English learner, we are always welcome to come to those, or anyone actually. We do talk about lots of different topics. Again, March 10th, our parent learning drive, the book drive, and I hope that you guys have a good spring break. Enjoy the time off with your children. I know if they play sports, it's no time off, but at least you get to have them be home for a little bit. Any questions on that? No? Did you want to say a few, just a little bit? Okay, and then did you guys want to say something? Yep. Come on up.
Hello.
Yeah, you can hear.
Good morning, family. I'm here with Alliance Shoe Care, and we work with Medi-Cal patients. So if you receive Medi-Cal with either Kaiser or Community Health Group and any other health plan, if you don't have those two, we can work with you. But what we do is we work with families that are in need of little extra help. Let's say you lack the right housing, so you're living with family or friends or on the street or in your car. We have housing navigators that can help you locate low-income housing. And we do help with the deposit to move into a place and the utilities. We also have a lot of other resources like transportation to medical appointments, food if you have diabetes that gets delivered to your home, programs for your children. So it's all through Medi-Cal. So if you do receive Medi-Cal, come to our table and we'll be more than happy to help you.
And if not for you, for a family, friends, you know, whoever.
And we have goodies too, for free.
For free. They have giveaways. Okay. So, and then, yeah, we're done. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you again. That wraps up our Coffee with the Principal today. Thank you again. We hope that that information was beneficial to you, both the district attorney, Wishwell, and our guests from Alliance as well. Thank you to our vendors for the wonderful, yes, what is it again? County Office of San Diego. Thank you for these little treats here. We appreciate you, parents. I hope you take it, and we hope to see you at the Learning Walk on March 10th.
And then if you haven't signed in, please.
Oh, yes.
And then our feedback forms, if you haven't done them, we really do read them.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, we really do want to make sure to know that we're bringing things that are interested to you or anything else. So please fill, if you haven't filled one out.
Yeah.
please
If there's
fill
something
one
you want to
out.
learn more about, please
Yes.
fill it out. Tell us.
Yeah. Yes. If anyone needs a pencil or pen. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.